All right, let's talk about I guess a more current story ish. I hate being asked what I do. And it's not like pause because there's a spider on my purse. Okay. Um it's not because I don't know the answer. I do. I say whatever it is I'm working on at the time. It's right now it's I'm a project manager. Um or depending on who I'm talking to, if I think they're a potential client, I might say fractional PM. Um because that's how I get my clients. That's what I do. But like when it leaves my mouth, it's like it feels like that amputation again. Like I'm not really saying all of the parts of me, right? Um, and the answer is a title. And most people think about title as identity. We went through that, earlier. So yeah, I just that and like the whole well, tell me about yourself in interviews. Like I get it. It's part of like the whole culture fit, which I think we all know that has like its issues now. Um, but I get it, right? I understand why the questions are asked. We've been conditioned to ask them, yada yada. Um, and at least that one I can kind of explain around what's actually on my resume because you don't ever want to actually like just regurgitate what's on your resume when you answer that question in an interview. And so I can connect some dots and maybe tell a fuller picture of myself. But even then, it just still feels like I'm condensing myself and performing in a way to put it in a box that I know that they're trying to fulfill. Um, Man, this spider is persistent. Go away. Okay. All right. Hopefully they find him a new home. Okay. Um. So yeah, just thinking about that. Thinking about how it just feels like it puts me in another box, and I'm trying to break out the boxes. Um, and so, yeah, just been sitting with like why those questions just bother me because it also reminds me of when like women are asked if they have kids. Like there's no safe answer. If you say no, there's that silent judgment. Well, why? And if you say yes, then it's like, well, why didn't you say them sooner? Like as if that's the first thing that's supposed to come out your mouth. And like you can't be a full human being, a feminine person without children. Um, and like you can't be somebody's mom and still be your own self or your own person. And no one wants to think about the folks who like have fertility issues, have tried, lost, like because then of course then you look like the dumb person for asking, right? And it's just a question that feels more like a trap than genuine curiosity. And those other questions, the what do you do's, they feel the same way because it's asking you to compress yourself into something that's legible, tangible, uh, consumable to other people. Um, and if you try to explain the whole picture, then you're too much. Um, and so it just feels like there's no right way for us multi passionates in a way, like and I feel like over these last 25 days, I'm proving to myself that I don't have to compress. I'm tired of compressing. I want to be my big, full, exuberant self without necessarily needing to be bubbly. I don't think I'm a bubbly person. I don't think I have to be my fullest self that is taking up space unapologetically. Um, I don't fit in a sentence. And when I've tried to do that, it just feels limiting and like almost in some ways dishonest. And I definitely don't like that feeling. Now, I do think kind of, and this is, I'm going to say new version. It's, I guess, relatively new, maybe last 5, 10 years. Um, Idea of how to do an elevator pitch where you're kind of saying like, who you help and via what ways, or the problem that you solve, and in what ways. Um, and I feel like that is at least a little bit better because it feels more like you're telling a story than giving yourself a title. And it doesn't ask you to shrink, because hopefully when you're saying, I help X people do this thing that fixes a pain point, then hopefully people are asking you questions. Hopefully people are being curious and like asking you to tell them more, or you know different things like that. And I like that because then we totally jump over the small talk. I think small talk has its place. I don't mind doing small talk. I much prefer though the deeper conversations. Like, let's talk and have a genuine conversation, a genuine debate, a genuine back and forth where no one needs to agree. Not everybody has to turn into a client per se, but I think that that's where richness comes in, and you're able to share a bit of that richness of yourself without compressing it into just one sentence or a title. Yeah, I just, yeah. So I think we're getting closer. I think we're getting closer to something better. Um, and it's okay if people don't get it now. I'm still gonna be my big self. I'm no longer shrinking myself. I think it's one of the things, like, once the cat's out of the bag, it's out the bag. Once Pandora's box is open, it's open. And you could try to close it, I suppose, but I don't know. It's one of the ignorance is bliss, right? Like, once you know, you can't unknow. You can't unknow. Um, and so I think I've mentioned this before, right? For me, my underlying thing is how people find meaning, whether it's um, finding meaning in how language shapes what we understand, or how culture shapes what we value, or how people align over a shared goal, or just making a feeling become visible, right? Linguistics, anthropology, project management, art, deeper into real estate, gardening, sculpting. I love tech. Like, all of those things have that underneath. Um, so yeah, while things may look different on the surface, they all share that piece. And I just think that when we share these bigger parts of ourselves and we don't shrink, one, again, I'll say it again, representation matters. I think it's important for, yes, the kids, but also for other adults, for the younger adults, for the older adults. Um, I can probably make a whole nother video just on like how I love like when I see people who are older than me. They don't necessarily have to be old, but people who are older than me being their truest self. Like, whatever was holding them back, whatever that may have been, and they've shed that, however they need to shed it, and they are just fully themselves, unapologetically. I just love it. There's just no, I don't understand how anyone can be mad at someone or upset at someone for being their truest self. It's just beautiful to witness. It is so beautiful to witness. And so I hope that that's what I'm doing too, is providing witnessing accounts for someone else to be like, I've witnessed her, I've witnessed Renee, and now I'm going to also be my biggest self, my exuberant self, or whatever that means. It doesn't have to be exuberant, but you being your fullest self in a way that you don't feel like you are condensing yourself, or you don't have to feel shame around it. Yeah. So, what way can you share your fullest self without condensing yourself into a title, into a label? Those are all fine things and they have their place. But what are you outside of that?